Today, I want to inspire you to create better and more video content, especially if you are in the early stages of trying to understand how to actually sit in front of the camera and record yourself and how to get better at this. I really just want to share some simple practical things. This is not going to be the masterclass of kind where you need a lot of equipment, you need to do very specific practices. Honestly, it's just a day-to-day thing that I encourage you to try to see if this will help you to create better content. If you are on the path of creating more video content or just trying to understand how to create video content in the first place, then this one is for you. My name is Eva and I've been a digital product creator for more than a decade, but showing up on video has always been a struggle for me for many different reasons. I started out back in 2015 and back then I wasn't speaking English all that much. I was really overthinking my accent. I was struggling to even find the right words when I was talking in front of camera and off the camera. It didn't really matter. And camera definitely gave that additional pressure. For whatever reason it's happening, it is very hard to sit in front of camera and talk. The one thing that now, more than a decade later, I can guarantee you is that the only way how you can get better is by doing it. And maybe this is not the advice that you came here for, but here are some practical things that I would suggest you to do for you to learn exactly how to create better video content on your own. So, especially when it comes to Instagram content, when it comes to talking head reels, many people will suggest you using back camera. And that is kind of the first thing everybody will be talking about. But honestly, I prefer to use front camera, especially if you're just getting started, because it will just give you more confidence. It will help you to understand exactly where you are in the camera, how you look like. This will help you to more easily notice what is and what isn't working. Later down the line, you can switch the camera if you're filming with your phone. You can switch it to the back camera to have better quality, but I actually did the opposite. I just recently switched back to front camera. Yes, the quality is not that great, but it really helps me to create more content and I'm just more excited about it. So honestly, my point here is use the setup, use the settings of the camera that work for you. Okay, it's not that important. It's really not that serious. So now when it comes to actual recording, one of my favorite things that I always keep in mind as I'm recording myself is to make sure that you feel good about yourself and the setup, the surroundings, the environment you are in. So I know very well that, for example, right this second, like the table is a bit messy. I could have thought about that. I could have probably improved the background. But honestly, for me right now, the priority was sitting down and doing the recording. However, when you're just getting started, these small things can really nag you. So make sure that you are comfortable. You're sitting in a comfortable space, but you're not like crumbled up. You know, if I would be like sitting like this, which by the way I often do, it might come off a bit weird. On the other hand, when I'm more like in front of the camera, where I'm more leaning into you, it feels more personal. So you want to find that spot where you can sit, feel comfortable, but also be in the camera instead of being just part of the room, right? So this is one of the things that will help you to actually feel more excited about showing up. You also always want to make sure that you're sitting in front of a good light. So for me, honestly, light has always been one of the biggest issues. I used to live in a very dark apartment and then I always had to turn on the light for me to actually be able to film anything. Now I am sitting right in front of the window, but even today, the light is never all that great. The sun tends to come and go. Sometimes the shadows are falling in the wrong direction and I can never really choose in which direction I want to sit. So it's a work in progress, but the key thing here is that you want to make sure that there's as much good natural light as possible. If you don't have the natural light, if you don't have a nice place to sit near the natural light, which also might be the case, you want to make sure that there's some additional light in the room. So at the end of the day, the video looks as well lit as possible. Once you have your environment, once you feel good about showing up, and once you are ready to hit record, one of the first things I would invest in is a microphone. For example, I have a Holyland A1 I believe. It's one of the cheaper ones, but I honestly have loved it ever since I have it. I also have the standing Blue Jetty microphone, but honestly, if there's one microphone I would just go for, it's this small kind that you can put anywhere while you are talking. But if at the moment you don't have microphone to work with, you can still record your videos. Okay, I was recording my phone videos without any microphone for forever. Most phones will have good microphone already in place, and unless you're in like very loud environment, it will not make all that big of a difference. You just have to get started, right? Then once you are already doing the thing, you can always improve, buy the microphone later down the line, or add any other improvements you may need. Now let's talk about the actual content. This often is the hardest part, especially if you are kind of just getting started. You may have ideas what you want to say, but how do you actually sit in front of the camera and talk about them? It's really all about the practice. But if you need a starting point, first of all, gather those ideas you have. So in the moment that you're sitting in front of the camera, you don't have to start now thinking about them. So for example, I use a Notion board where I have all of my ideas written down. As I go in my life, if something else comes up, I will literally just add it in there. And then once I sit down and I'm ready to record, I have a full library of different topics to choose from. Now, I also don't want to dismiss the inspiration and that vibe that you may have in each specific day. Sometimes I have many different ideas that I have written down, but when I sit down in front of the camera, I have completely different thoughts in my mind. So if there's something that you feel inspired to talk about specifically today, just talk about that. But if you don't have an idea where to begin, just go through that list that you have and start somewhere. Give yourself a chance to try and possibly fail. Honestly, there is no failing in video content creation. And here's another golden advice that you may have heard already. And it usually states that you should talk with camera as you would talk with a friend, but it can be hard to do if it's literally just a camera. So what I would do, I would think about the way how I would introduce a topic to a friend. So for example, if right now I would be going to WhatsApp and talking about specific topic with my friend, I would start that conversation in my mind. Oh, so here's an idea that I want to tell you about. Then I sit down, record that video as I would be recording that WhatsApp message. Yes, of course, the visual overwhelm comes in. You start to stutter, you start to overthink everything you're saying. But that's where the practice comes in. And talking about practice, one of the best ways you can do to actually improve is not only to sit in front of the camera and talk, but also to edit your own videos. This can make such a big difference because you can actually start to notice what is and what isn't working. You will start to hear what are the words that you are using. Maybe there are these small phrases that you're overusing all the time. I often hear this after recording my own videos. But the more you edit them, the more you record, the more you see and hear yourself, which can be hard at first, but you'll get used to it. The more you are in that process, the easier it gets to recognize these things as you're recording as well. Honestly, creating any type of content, but especially video content, is all about doing the thing. But the best thing, especially these days, is that your audience, they don't really care all that much about perfection. They don't care exactly how you look like or whether or not you say all the right things. They just want to connect with you. They want to hear from you. They want to hear what you have to say. So for you to do that, you have to start showing up in video content. That will be it from me for today. I hope to see you around. For more, you can subscribe to the channel and you can also connect with me on Instagram at Course Creation Lab.